Labas. Tai mano pasaulis. Eime pasivaikščioti po jį. Noriu tave supažindinti su savo draugu Kimo iš Los Andželo. Pakeliui papasakosiu, ką galėsi čia nuveikti. Pirma, reikėtų susipažinti su personažų valdymu. Pagrindiniai mygtukai yra W judėti į priekį, S judėti atgal, A pasisukti į kairę, D pasisukti į dešinę. Space tarpo mygtukas pradėti sąveiką. Tačiau prieš atliekant šiuos veiksmus ant ekrano reikia paspausti kairį pelės mygtuką. Jei jau aiškus personažo valdymas, dabar galiu papasakoti apie kitus dalykus. Šiame pasaulyje tau teks ne tik peržiūrėti video medžiagą, bet ir atlikti įvairias užduotis. Tam prireiks žinių, kurių galbūt tu dar neturi, bet gausi galimybę jas įgyti. Tavo žinios atsispindės surinktų taškų bei daiktų kiekių. Kai turėsi pakankamą žinių bagažą, galėsi įgyti profesiją, o profesija šiame žaidime labai svarbu, be jos negalėsi dalyvauti projektų vykdyme. Kaip atlygį už sėkmingai atliktus projektus gausi papildomus taškus ar daiktus. Na, aš čia tik trumpai apžvelgiau šį pasaulį. Kai pasiklausysi mano draugo, galėsi po šį miestą pasivaikščioti vienas. Taip, man atrodo, geriau susipažinsi kas kur. Viskas, palieku tave su juo. Iki.
What's up, people? This is Kimo Arbas coming to you live from Hollywood, Los Angeles, California.
Germany, Lithuania, Holland, the Netherlands, England, Los Angeles, Kreuzberg, Berlin, K984 select the fader.
Welcome to Los Angeles! What's up? This is K984, Kimo Arbas, live in Hollywood, California. How you doing? Right now we're going to do the lesson on graffiti art.
Mixtape. Hey yo, graffiti art, Fantasia, a grizzly Walt Disney. The DJ spin us like they trying to keep us all dizzy, and I love them for it. I give them my support. The champion sound, play the beat just like a sport. Create the devastate crew, we want that gold medal. Bidens think they doing something barely on our old level. It's rockin' dilated, ETS, you can't touch me. With K984, Fungal Kingdom Grand
Yo,
Duchy.
we rock shit, toxic like smallpox hit, sick like I hawk spit. Talk shit, best stop quick, lock lip. Better quit, we top shit. Saber-tooth writers of La Brea tar pits.
Graffiti art is something that was started in the 70s. Some people say it was started by the graffiti writer Cornbread, who was probably one of the first taggers, who wrote his name all over the city. It's now developed into something in New York during the 1970s, where people would paint their names or full-color murals on subway cars that millions of people would travel on every day. If you don't paint it illegally, it's not exactly graffiti art, but it's something that's like graffiti art, using graffiti art techniques, but when you have permission and you're allowed to paint there, or you're getting paid to paint. Graffiti art started in the 70s. It was developed and changed many different forms. It later was incorporated into the hip-hop movement, which was a movement started in New York City to combat the youth violence that was going on in the city. In hip-hop, a person can battle without using violence, which is the coward's way. You can do it by doing graffiti art against someone, rapping against someone, breakdancing against someone, etc., etc. This way, both sides win because you compete and you get stronger, even if you get really embarrassed. This is the basis of what is hip-hop. So graffiti art is one of the elements of hip-hop. The other elements include breakdancing, music, and so you can call it art, music, and dance. Each one of these can be broken down into different subgenres. For hip-hop music, there's rapping, beatboxing, turntablism, or the DJ, etc., beat makers. For the dance, there's breakers, poppers, uplockers, all kinds of stuff. And then in graffiti, there's taggers, bombers, and piecers.
Walk away from this place. Your hands are itching for cash. I sash your card in my sling. I'll leave the scene in a flash. These rhymes are built to outlast. My vocals strong like that cash. You see my boy on the side. He's making all of them bets. He bets a card on one side. So now you're making a bet. The odds are all against you. I take your money in jet, just like the Doberman gang. I got you using the cash. You go report to the cops, but I'm out like the tip from the truck that I'm in. You're out of luck and I win the big bucks and dividends.
For me personally, I got into graffiti art because I loved the way it looked. A lot of my friends were doing it. I did my first graffiti mural in a famous graffiti wall in the Los Angeles River in 1986. It was a great way to keep myself, in a sense, in the neighborhood where I would be respected without having to join a gang and use violence. I'll defend myself, but I don't want to do it for someone else for no reason, with people that I don't even know. Graffiti art probably saved my life. Graffiti art was an outlet for my creative energy and frustrations as a young man, because graffiti is all about skill, style, and boldness, and confrontation in a non-violent way. This became part of my character. I always strive to be original and strong in the styles I created. Art will conquer violence, or manas nugales morta, has been a major philosophy in my life, as well as bringing beauty to depressive places. I wanted to fight violence with art. I used to also write political graffiti, often adding to my murals "Free Lithuania," or writing "Soviets get out of Lithuania." I used to write this all over Los Angeles and Hollywood, and other nearby places. Since I wrote political things, I didn't want to make enemies by my actions. So I would never paint on private property or houses of worship or nature, etc. I would write on public transportation, billboards, banks, temporary walls they put up around construction sites, or the ruins of torn down structures, and of course graffiti walls of fame and graffiti yards, which are like galleries that the graffiti artists put together themselves. It's important to keep in mind that if you paint in a place that you don't have permission for, it's illegal. And you might want to think of the consequences of painting on that property. Some people have been shot for doing that. Other people have been arrested and put in jail. And because every person who thinks they might be a graffiti artist might not have any skills, for people who do good graffiti art and have skills, they may be considered the same as people who don't. And this is a big problem. If you don't have a place to paint, or a graffiti yard, or you haven't developed your skills enough, I recommend you take a big piece of wood, paint it with a regular house paint or a wall paint, let it dry, and then take spray cans and practice on it until you get your skills better and you can go to a graffiti yard, or maybe you can even get paid to paint on somebody's house.
Hardcore, out here families know war and hate bombs, so we throw hip-hop napalm. Cultural warriors never die cause we never tire, like Lithuania will never expire, always aspire to grow higher. We straight live wire, so spread the word like a goddamn flyer. We set this art on fire. Lithuania. Lithuania.
Yo, ketvirtų metų pabaiga, penktų pradžia. Yo, ant naujų slenksčio stovime visi drauge. Yo, Kimo Arbas, pušas.
Yeah, this here is an outline. That's how you outline your work, especially in letters. Here, let me take a look at some of these letters over here. For example, this is what you call an outline. These lines here. This is what you call a fade or shading. It's in the fill-in of the letters. I don't know if you can tell the letters here, but they are letters. And then oftentimes you have backgrounds. Like, for example, here on this one behind me, The background is the cityscape with the car and all of that. See it? The main tools of graffiti art are the spray can and the tip. The tip is what you put onto a can that the actual paint comes out of. And it's always a good idea to use a gas mask because the fumes are very toxic. On a typical graffiti artist's workday, you sketch, then later you come up with color schemes, then you find the spray cans that match the color scheme, you buy them, and then you go paint. You might draw in a sketchbook, or you might just go straight to the wall. Classical training isn't necessary in graffiti art, not necessarily. You have to learn on your own, but it can give you some tools to get what's in your head out onto the wall, onto a surface or onto a sketchbook or something. But it's not necessary. But if you don't use other ways of training, you have to work very hard to learn it yourself. If you want to learn by yourself, it's important to make a system of learning. I recommend drawing what you're looking at, drawing what you see, but you might also want to draw pictures that's in a magazine or in a book or something like that. You have to remember that graffiti art is a subculture, so it's not something. Don't copy other graffiti artists because they might want to use violence against you. Better, if you're going to copy another artist, copy someone who works in a different art form, like a classical painter or Walt Disney or something like this. If you copy that, that's okay. But if you copy another artist, that person might be very offended by that, and they might have to come after you.
The true spray, the translucent fade, the true spray, the translucent fade, It's like this. Anti-hero initiate from nation to state, like St. Robin escape. I create to devastate, canine 8-4, hard annihilate, cause my styles never rust. I turn concrete to dust when I bust. So hot, make you shiver. Throw rocks from my quiver. Echo on walls of Los Angeles River. Aerosol, shocking odd to corruption. My chemical weapon of mass destruction, rambunctious. Say they hate it but need more. Cujo OG stealth bomber of the Cold War.
Do's and don'ts. Remember, if you paint something where you don't have permission, that's illegal. Person will have to either clean it themselves or spend money to clean it. And that will make them very angry with you. And they may want to do something to you, like have you arrested by the police or something like that. So it's important to keep that in mind and always know that there's an effect for what you do. Another thing is, if you talk to them first, they might want you to paint on their house, to do something that they'll see every day. They might even pay you for that. If you paint inside of a club, maybe they will always let you come in for free or give you things. If you want to cause damage or make a political statement, keep in mind there's always an effect for what you do. Some people have been shot dead for painting illegally or painting in places where people saw them. Some people have spent hard time in jail. People have been beaten up. All kinds of things can happen. So keep in mind what you do. And for me personally, I like to live with respect. I try to always live with respect. So I keep in mind what I do. Especially when I used to write Freedom for Lithuania back in the end of the 80s. I didn't want to make enemies when I painted it because I wanted them to understand that Lithuania was a country that needed and deserved to have freedom. If I painted on a church or on someone's house, I think they would, even if they didn't know Lithuania, they would start to know it and probably hate it. So I made sure that I didn't write someplace where it was harmful to the people where I painted it. Creative task. Why don't you try to come up with a nickname and write it first in handwriting in a different way. Try to make different letters for it. After you've done that, try to make bubble letters or square letters and see how it goes. You can also try to write your real name or make up one. After you've done it in square letters, try to add a third dimension to it and see how that comes out. Question: do you prefer drawing characters or letters? What is your favorite style, and what would you like to become good at? You've probably seen graffiti near where you live. Is there some you like, or is there some you don't like?
Urban jungle green. Sonic burn, urban jungle green.
Urban jungle green.
Sonic burners, urban jungle green. Urban jungle green.